Pittsburgh Steelers fans, what's going on? Welcome back to Blitzburg Squad. I am Wesley Seeley, joined alongside Shane Smith. Shane, we got a recap here. Steelers, Vikings. Vikings take it 36-28 over the Steelers. It was a tale of two halves. I feel like
tale of three quarters and one quarter.
I feel like we always say that, but it's just our MO this season, I guess. So
horrible.
it was a weird game. I loved the fourth quarter and I loved the fight, and but when you put yourself in a hole like we did in this game, it's hard to rebound and dig yourself out of it.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and almost doing it great, but why do you put yourself in that hole to begin with?
If you hadn't, yep, you're right.
So with that, let's jump into the offense.
Yippee-ki-yay. So offensively, looked absolutely dead. I mean, dead in the water. Looks like they never woke up from their late Sunday win against the Ravens. Had a couple days, and then they were off to Minnesota to face the Vikings here, and they just absolutely fell flat. You know, they had no spark at the beginning, mainly because Ben got hit in like 1.2 seconds every play. But
it was.
I'm sure that had nothing to do with it.
It was Najee runs the ball, gets hit at 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Ben snaps the ball. Our line forgets to block.
There's a guy blocked.
Absolutely hammered.
Yep.
Time and time again, and it was one of those things where you're like, man, Ben can't do anything. Literally, he gets the ball and he's got to just make sure he doesn't let go of the ball.
Well, and I guess let me back up too, because the first drive looked actually okay. We were moving the ball pretty fluidly, and it was Mr. Chase on a little, bootleg, whatever we did with Roethlisberger, scrambled out, tossed it to him. He ran it for about 6 or 7 yards, ran out of bounds. Somehow wanted to stick his hand in the guy's face mask,
which he's lucky the guy didn't take off or move his head, because it would have broke his finger.
Got him mixed in his face mask. Yeah, I know. I'm like, what are you doing? So he got
15. I think
unsportsmanlike
10 or 15 yard penalty.
Yeah, okay.
Negated everything he did.
Negated that, and then we got a nice play, I think, back to Deontay just before the first, so we didn't get the first because of it.
Yep.
Long field goal from Boz, and he misses it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a huge momentum shift for us, because we moved the ball pretty fluidly on that first drive for some weird reason.
Yes and no. Yeah. We didn't have super far to go, though, because the Vikings
kicker had
missed.
You're right.
So we didn't have a super, super long way, but it was nice to have that momentum on our side. We were feeding off of it.
Right, you're right.
Then we get down. Boz kicks it. Honestly, I really wish they would have had the overhead cam, because I was like, man, did he get that just above, which technically would be a field goal? But no replay. They just said no
Didn't
good
show it again.
and anything like that. Because I was like, man, maybe it doesn't look as close as it did on the TV, but it didn't look wide left. It just looked like it was.
It wasn't like their kicker's kick.
Yes.
That one was definitely a miss.
And so that was one of the things where it was like, man, that sucks. If we would have been up 3-0,
especially on an extra drive,
it felt better. Mm-hmm.
Extra drive at that point from the missed field goal. But yeah, after that, it was
nothing.
It was nothing.
No.
A whole lot of nothing.
It was stack the box. I mean, the Vikings' plan was put 8 in the box, and it doesn't matter what they're going to do. We're going to get to them no matter what.
How many sacks did they have? The
first half, they had 4 sacks.
And I know they didn't do 2.
They got 1, as far as I know, in the
third?
second. The third. And I think that was it. Yeah, Ben got sacked 5 times.
I was going to say, because we cleaned it up in the second there, but first half was so rough to watch.
Ben got hit 7 times.
And and the shots he was taking were just.
Oh, they were not letting up.
I mean, Harrison Smith on that one came unblocked and just smacked Ben blindside, and it was just like line not letting him up, helping him up, get off the field.
Oh, yeah, Ben rolled over, and Ben looked every bit of a 39-year-old man, and I was like, oh, God, he's hurt.
This is the game he's going to die. Yeah, I felt so bad. I was like, I can understand if he's holding it and he's looking, he's holding, he's pump faking, and he gets smashed. That's on him. You can't expect your line to hold up.
Right.
But, man,
It was under 3 seconds.
Oh,
every
it was
time he got
horrible.
hit. Like it was literally. There might have been one time where he held on and they said too long, and to me it was okay. First read's not open. Let me get to my set. Oh, I'm hit. Like
Yeah.
and that's exactly how it felt. Like they were just playing very tight. Our guys were just not trying at all, and they knew that they were stopping the run. I mean, Najee wasn't doing a darn thing because our line again was just falling to pieces, and specifically our center, our right guard, and our right tackle were by far the worst of the 5 on there. Like, it was just...
I think the Vikings knew coming into this game that they were like, listen, the Steelers have a young, inexperienced line. We're going to make it confusing and make it a hard day in our field, in our stadium for them on this game, because they all, like, loaded the line. They're all like, yeah, who's coming, who's not, who's dropping back, who's coming on which side, who's the mic, and it's like, I don't know who you got him. It's got like just a miscommunication, and I think that was just a lot of what presumed to be Harrison Smith coming unblocked or some of the coming unblocked. It was like, wow. It was. I mean, even the run with Najee on like a third and one, third and two, and Woods, I think their corner came off like the edge and blitzed, unblocked, tripped him up, and stopped him right before the first down. I was like, nice.
Oh yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was horrible. And halftime comes, you're down 23-0 at that point, and you're just like, man, I just wish I could go to bed right now.
It was the same feeling we had with the Bengals game. We were just like, can we just please forfeit? Like,
yeah,
is there any way we can just forfeit?
It was, I didn't want to finish this game, but I knew we had to because we were recording this, and anything could happen. And so you're like, man, I just got to get through this, because big news could happen. Ben could literally die on the field, and we would really need to talk about that.
I think it's that point, too. Somebody had tweeted and said, like, can we just put Mason in? Like, just put Mason. At this point, just put Mason in. And I was like, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because...
Right, we look horrible.
I don't want Ben to get killed here.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, it's not Ben's fault, and it's not why I want him out.
Right.
I want him out so he can live for the rest of the season, and he can actually see Week 18 to finish off his career.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want him to go out and, okay, a Vikings Thursday night game, let's get killed and, literally kill the poor man into retirement.
Yep.
Like, that's not what I wanted to see. And... it was like, man, and then Terry Bradshaw talks during the halftime show, and basically he was like, man, I have never seen the Steelers' defense look this bad. I have never seen the Steelers look this bad. He was basically like, you could hear the disappointment in his voice, and he's been retired for 40 years, 50 years.
Uh-huh.
Like, it was just bad. And I know they said that Tomlin, when they were talking to him, like heading into the locker room, they were like, we don't ever hear this from Tomlin, but the more he started talking, the more angry he got and the more fired up he got, and like he was just PO'd beyond belief heading into the locker room, and they were like, we do not see Tomlin act out like this, and he was furious. And so I am sure when he went into that locker room, like, there was no just quiet, like, I'm sure he went in there and there were some words that can never be repeated that were said.
Maybe somebody live streamed it this time.
Oh, well, if anybody, it'd be Chase.
But, yeah, to your point, though, down 23 at the half there, and somehow we ended up making it a game.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how or what way.
And 23 wasn't even the worst of it.
I know.
Because you come out, we get the ball, Ben gets drilled again. We got to get rid of it. We somehow only let him get a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Then it leads to nothing again. PH3, I believe this was maybe one of his shanks, gets another field goal off it. It's 29-0, and you're at like 7 minutes to go in the third, and again, you're just like, my God.
Something needs to break.
It's like, I feel like my body's dead. Mm-hmm. I feel nothing. And that's exactly what it was even if we had a good play, was I going to feel anything?
Right. And I'm like, yeah, it's too late for it to spark a comeback at this point, too, because at the rate the defense was going, we're like, nah. Offense even scores a touchdown. Defense can't get you a stop.
Yeah. Dalvin had, this is going a little bit further, but Dalvin had 27 carries for 205 yards.
Yeah. And it was mainly all in, like, the first half.
Oh, yeah.
Basically.
Right.
Yeah, somehow offense, made a great check on the comeback. Well, they scored 28 points in under 13 minutes.
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
And the strikes that it was, too. I mean, like, combative catches from Washington, from Johnson, from Chase, all made great catches. The one to Washington for the touchdown was a strike from Ben, and Washington jumped over the guy and caught it right by the end zone.
Fantastic
I was
jump up and grab.
Dude, get him more playing time.
Absolutely. Because, on his last year, like, that's going in the books, especially when he hits free agency next year, and they're going to be like, huh, okay, I want this guy. Like, and they're going to for sure want this guy. Teams like, he's at least a number 2 on somebody else's team.
I would think.
Like, he's just a stout. When he gets the opportunities and he's driving it downfield, doing crossing, I mean, he looks great.
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes when we get frustrated with him, but there's times when we get frustrated with all our wide
Everybody,
receivers.
yeah, exactly.
And stuff. Fryermuth had a great touchdown. He went over, bowled over the dude and just ran it in. I mean, it was just like score after score after score after score, and our defense was finally helping us out.
Yeah.
And it was all strange because at that point, we had no TJ because
you're right.
his groin was injured, which people are saying it's just a tweak, and they're thinking that the coaching staff said, no, we're cutting you off because it's 23-0. We're not going to put you back in the game to further yourself. So there's things that, like, okay, TJ might have even been able to come back in if they wouldn't have cut him off. Alex Highsmith went out with a knee injury.
Yeah.
So we literally had our third, whoever bouncing in and out at our outside linebackers, and our defense starts kicking it off to make our offense have these nice short fields that were just quick scores.
They were.
Like,
things were just starting to fall into place. Like, Turner's on the defense. Offense was striking quick and making it happen. And offense was just clicking and kept that momentum going. And defense were getting stops or turnovers, like I said. Like, it was just making it happen. And, like, I don't know. We could probably talk about this game because it was a crazy ending to it. But
certainly,
just skipping to, like, the final drive of the game, we started at our own 2-yard line.
Something like that. We had to drive it between 96 and 98 yards.
That's what I thought because it was a punt and it was a bounce and it was like a perfect bounce. They downed it inside the 5 with like just over 2 minutes to go. I was like, okay, this is our chance to make, and that was 28-36 at that point, right?
Yep.
We needed 8 points. We needed a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and they started driving down the field, and I don't know what play it was. They started making some strides, getting chunks out of it, and like the two things that obviously caught my attention were that play by Leglue. We like the dude, but like,
oh yeah,
kind of made a boneheaded play. Screen to Chase. Chase was out. He wasn't even in front of Chase. He was behind Chase, so Chase was already out in front of him. Ran to like 8 or 9 yards for the play right before the first down, and Leglue like pushed this guy in the back. It might have even been when Chase was like getting tackled.
Right.
I don't even know when it was, what was going through his mind. Just a stupid, senseless play that brought us back for 2nd and long. Like at that point, it was the 2-minute warning, and just another hole to dig us out of too at that point. And then obviously what everybody's talking about is the big Chase play on the 4th down conversion, 4th and 1.
Right.
Heck of a catch. I like it. RPO. Ben slings it to him, puts it right on the money. He makes the catch.
Right.
That's what you want to ask for. And for some boneless or boneheaded, senseless reason, yep.
First down.
He's got to get that clout. He's got to get that.
36 seconds left in the game. No timeouts. Middle of the field. Wasn't like you ran out of bounds or anything.
That's what I would do in that situation. I would probably,
Yeah. You go to your knees, flick down. Don't even have the ball. Then you pick the ball back up, go to do it. It ends up getting, there's video things showing that the Vikings guy actually grabbed it and threw it. He got away with it. Kudos to him for doing that. I mean, if we did it, I'd say, kudos to us for being smart on it and knowing the refs aren't paying attention and, the wide receivers not caring. And then it ends up taking 12 seconds off the clock.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that literally kills us. At that point, I was like, we're not even going to get there to make a chance.
Yep.
At all.
Yep. I know. That killed us. And the killer to me, the funniest thing to me was Turner came running over to Claypool to try to be like, yo, what are you doing? Like, give me the ball. Like, we got to snap this and clock this. And we got finally, like you said, the ball went rolling. Fryermuth had to go track it down, grab it, give it to the ref. It was a nightmare. But the funniest thing to me was we clocked it, and then Chase is yelling and screaming at Turner coming back to the huddle. He's like yelling and getting all like in his face. Like, what are you yelling at him for? It should have been the other way around.
Oh, yeah.
Turner should have been yelling at you, and somehow you're thinking you're entitled to yell at him for celebrating after that 4th and 1 conversion.
Right, which Chase said afterwards that he sees nothing wrong with he did because the refs weren't moving fast enough. But, Larry Fitzgerald, his entire career, would get up, hand it to the ref, or he would place it down himself, and the refs would say, go on with it. Because Larry knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't a cocky little prick. And, it was something like that to where it's like, okay, Chase, why don't you start watching some Larry Fitz film on this and learn that you did wrong, own up for your actions, because until you start to own up for your actions, you're going to keep being a freaking bonehead.
Yep.
You'd already got benched early on in the game because of the finger thing. Like, when are you going to grow up? Because you just cost us 12 seconds.
Yep.
So then we clock it. Ben throws it to DJ in the middle of the field. I'm like, oh, God, this is it. Like, game over. Like, breaks a tackle, goes in, gives us one shot on the 12.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, man, Lions just beat the Vikings last week.
11 yards
11 yards. This is 1 yard further. We can't beat them. There's no way we can beat them, but this is possible. Like, their defense is really bad all of a sudden. Like, it's playing like it did against the Lions. And Ben makes a perfect pass. Freiermuth is in the great spot. On the last play, there's 5 seconds or something like that from the hike to the throw.
I think so.
And it
might even have been 2.
It was the tightest window ever to where you couldn't have put it any better.
Oh,
Muth
my
couldn't
gosh.
have tried to catch it any better. It was just Harrison Smith made the absolute perfect counterplay on it by already having his hand cocked to come in and just absolutely punch the ball out before Muth could put it anywhere. And I know people are trying to blame Muth on that. You go out there and try and do it. There's no way. I know Muth did everything he did. He was beating himself up for it, and I get that as a competitor. You're going to do that, but there's nothing he could have did with Harrison.
No, I don't think there's – I bet 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10 wide receivers drop that ball. You know what I mean? Like, just with the timing of the ball being out right in his hands and Smith already coming in to punch it while he hadn't even brought it into his chest yet. I mean, what you can't do much more than that.
Right.
The pass was an absolute
dime.
They showed the view from like behind the line of scrimmage, like Ben's view almost kind of on that throw, and like you saw like Freiermuth go out on his route and then make the in cut, and when Ben delivered that, like with those safeties coming down, I could not believe the precision of where that ball was at. I was like, yeah, there is no other spot you want that ball to be. That is the spot right there. But just a tough catch, tough break for us, really. I mean, it is what it is, but
for sure. And my biggest frustration is why didn't we do that the whole game?
That is the biggest topic that I think we need to talk about is why is our offense such a 15-minute offense?
That's all we are.
It's not 60 minutes. You can't give me 45. You can't give me even 30. It's just that flat 15 minutes.
Let's look back over a 3-week span of us. Just to put this into perspective, that we are not just joshing you. Like, okay, so we go, or I guess it's a 4-week because we're not counting the Bengals.
I was going to say, that was
So against the Chargers, fourth quarter, we got a touchdown, a touchdown, a touchdown, and 2 field goals. So 27 points in the fourth quarter against the Chargers. We lost 41-37 there.
Yep.
Bengals, we got 10 points, which touchdown in the fourth quarter. That was our only touchdown of the game.
Nice.
Ravens, we win 20-19, 17 points in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Then you go to the Vikings, and we get touchdown late third.
Yep.
Touchdown, all in the fourth. So, literally a fourth quarter team.
Mm-hmm.
Not a third and fourth. Not a second half team.
Nope.
Just a fourth quarter team.
Yep. And I know I told you this, but it's like I almost wonder if Canada or Ben, maybe they're both on the same level as when we start out the game, let's just do get it into playmakers' hands. Let's play conservative. Let's just do this and this and this. If it works, great. If not, then we'll just scratch our heads and wonder what the heck we're doing. But it's almost like we get to the fourth quarter and we're down 29, whatever points are at that point. Oh, then scratch everything, whatever we've game planned for. Now we've got to force this ball down the field.
Right.
And when we
Ben, do it.
Yeah. When we did, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. I don't know if it's Ben, like I said, I don't know, it's Canada, but whatever we decide to do in the fourth is working. So why? I don't know. I just think we are maybe too conservative with our regular game plan, our regular playing calls. I just think we need to be a little more aggressive and just say, hey, let's just sling the ball. Let's sling it downfield. Let's take more shots. Like, let's send James Washington on a post and let me just fire it in there to him, see if he can make the catch for us. Like, let your guys make the plays for you. And you can see Ben's making these throws.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. There's times when he's inaccurate. Last few weeks, I haven't felt like he's been inaccurate and cost us.
No,
he's been playing every bit of a guy on his last leg and playing his heart out all of a sudden, which is awesome. It's just, it sucks that the rest of the team around him makes boneheaded mistakes or cannot consistently play a football game.
Yep. I was going to say, I don't know if you're ready to jump to LVPs, but I was going to label Ben as an MVP in this game. And I don't like to, this might be the only game I give an MVP to a loss or an MVP in a loss. But dude played lights out that late third, 2 minutes third in the fourth. Absolute insane. Like the throws he was making, the Freiermuth on the last play, the James Washington post, some of those deep balls to Chase and Deontay, the Freiermuth touchdown even was right on the money. Like, some of the throws he was, even the Deontay one that he dropped in the end zone.
Right.
That was a nice play.
Yeah, Deontay dropped another one in the end zone.
That was
in the first, was that in the first half?
I can't remember.
I don't remember when that one was because I know Ray also dropped one. It was like Ben was getting hit, and he just kind of threw it in the middle towards Ray. And Ray was kind of like getting down, but it hit him right in the chest. Yeah. Ben had at least 3 drops by his wideouts, and I think he only missed 10 passes total.
And he had the one pick on the, maybe it was an RPO, it was a quick slant, and Deontay didn't I feel like he didn't
play it right.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't play it all the way through, and that could have at least maybe prevented the pick. It would have still been incomplete, but yeah, I was just really impressed with, like, the heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the dude's 38, 39 years old, and, like, he just played with so much heart. He was, like, for him getting absolutely blasted, unblocked, his team basically not playing on the other side of the ball. We'll get into that. But and offensively, nobody else really giving a heck of if we were even here. I didn't even know if they even showed up at that game. I mean, physically, they were there, but mentally, I didn't think they were.
Right.
But I just couldn't believe it, the fight that he showed to bring us. Like, he carried the team on his back that whole game. I know, like, wideouts made great plays and everything, but just hats off to him. I got to give him an MVP for this game. I don't want to because it's a loss, but I got to.
Oh, for sure. No, there's no way you can't, because if anybody deserves an MVP that wasn't on the winning team, it's for sure Ben. And then on an LVP standpoint, you know, there's a few culprits that you could put on there. I'm not putting Muth on there because he does not deserve the hate that people are giving him at all. Nobody's worse than Chase.
I was going to say, whatever you're about to say, I know what you're about to say, I'm going to agree with you. So,
like, you cannot, yes, the line was bad. You know, Najee didn't have a super great game. Sure, DJ dropped the pass, but nobody was as boneheaded, as stupid, as cocky, as significantly dumb, to put it, PG.
Yeah.
As Chase was. And he can make all the excuses he wants, but he is the least valuable player on the wide receiver core, on the offense that night.
Yes.
And he needs to own up to it. He needs to get his ego in check. And, he needs to quit going to AB's School of Insanity, because he's starting to head down that path.
He is.
As a second-year guy, and it's to the point where I'd love Juju to get his shoulder back in shape and just rock him like he rocked Perfect. Maybe it'll knock some sense into
him, huh? Yeah, which is crazy because you see his stat line. He did really solid.
Oh, did great.
But it's like...
Great talent.
Yeah. Oh, he is. He's got all the talent in the world, but when he makes stupid plays like that, we can't blame the offensive line because of miscommunication or just getting beat up front. At that point, it's like, yeah, we would have labeled them LVPs, but when you've got a bonehead like Chase making the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty or taunting, whatever they end up calling it, and then that play at the end where he just wasted time in a gotta have it moment where you gotta have those seconds. He's definitely the LVP. I don't see how you can choose anybody else at that point. So. Okay, I think we chatted enough about the offense.
I was going to say, we were very long-winded on the offense and about this game, but
defense.
It is what it is. We might have to break it into 2 videos, but we'll see. Maybe it'll just be an hour-long one. We'll be fine.
Defensively, they look like absolute trash.
They looked horrible.
First half, I don't know if I've ever
Pretty much all game.
Yeah, basically all game, but first half especially. First half especially, Absolute trash. I don't know if I've ever seen a professional team look that bad. Or professional defense in the NFL, at least, look that bad in a first half. I couldn't believe the holes that Dalvin had. Justin Jefferson was wide open almost every play.
Oh, it could have 100%. When it was 9-0, we were lucky it was not 20-0. Because Kirk Cousins missed 2 wide open touchdowns to Justin Jefferson. And that wasn't our defense making a stop. No. That was Kirk Cousins being slightly off the mark to where Jefferson had to try to get it one-handed and just couldn't come down with it. Because our corners looked bad, our linebackers looked bad, our D-line looked bad. The only player that came to play on our defense was Minka.
Yeah.
That's the only person that cared. All freaking, the entire 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And it was pathetic.
It was horrible. I couldn't believe that it was so disheartening because it's different when you're getting beat. Like when you're losing a game, it's different when your guys are showing the heart and just getting out physicaled or outmatched. But when it just seems like they're not trying, like we watched on Thursday night, that's like, okay, what are we even doing here?
Right.
Like, what are we even? Are we wanting to win? Are we wanting to compete? What do the fans? What do you expect us to watch this? It was just like I can understand when you got a close game and you're just getting out physical, outmatched, out performance. But when you got guys coming out like that and looking like high schoolers, it's like, what are we doing? What are we even doing?
Oh, I mean, at one point, Dalvin Cook, who did end up playing, through a torn labrum, separated shoulder injury. It was literally part the seas, and I think he had 5 carries for 97 yards. It was ridiculous. I think in the first half we averaged per play before contact 11.8 yards. That's not a defense.
No.
Those are 11 guys just standing on the field, picking their nose and wiping their boogers on their pants. They might as well have been freaking children at that point, learning how to play baseball out in the outfield and just sitting down.
I think they were. training for a different sport.
It was horrible.
It was crazy. You'd see him get to Minka and Terrell, or at least Minka because he was always deep back. But you'd see him get to his level every single play. It's
time after time after time.
Why?
Yeah.
This should not be happening.
No.
And the crazy thing is okay, you can point and mix and match it. To it and Alu and TJ and Highsmith, was late, but those guys were out, and it's that's a big part of our defense. Well, yeah, okay, I get it, but look at Belichick's defense that he's had nobody's in there and he's made them somebody's.
Right.
Why can't we do that with Schobert? I mean, Schobert's made himself a name, but why can't we do that with these guys that come in like Tuzka or I'm just thinking
Certainly.
of some of these guys that need to step up and look like an NFL player, not like a high schooler, and they looked like absolute trash. It was disgusting.
They looked horrible.
They were horrible.
We got no sacks.
No sacks.
Hardly
any pressures really.
Yeah, up until the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Which Vikings are now leading the NFL in sacks. They officially passed
after
us.
a 5-sack game.
Yeah, after killing us. But yeah, it was just so disinterested. And even after the game, Dalvin was talking about it because he was obviously the player of the game. You know, just in rushing, he had 205 yards. He had a couple of catches that, he probably had close to 250 yards on his own. I mean,
total.
he was absolutely insane. He's a heck of a player. A big speedy guy. He's got some power behind him, but he was also hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And we should have been able to exploit that, and we didn't.
Right.
Just horrible. But he was talking to a female reporter, and she was like, "Man, those holes," and he's like, "You could have ran through them."
Right.
He knew it was bad enough that any Joe Schmo off the street could have ran through it and had maybe not as successful because he's a freak athlete, but could have had a solid performance.
Yes.
A horrible running back could have had a great performance the way their line was pushing us and just parting it like the Red Seas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we were down 23-0 at half, because it was, 3 run plays and they're in field goal range already? What the heck is this?
Yep.
Justin Jefferson, it's 2nd and 18, 3rd and 18. Justin Jefferson on a 20-yard catch and run? do we not realize that this is their number one? He's got
Yeah.
over 1,200 yards for a reason. Like, what do we not understand on this? And it was almost like our defense was like, oh, yeah, we played the Ravens and we beat them. We really don't care about anything
Yeah,
else.
if we lose this one, no big deal. We don't really care about getting playoffs. Yeah,
Yeah.
no big deal. We don't really need this one. We'll win the next couple. Yeah, whatever. We still got time. We still got time to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Very horrible performance for the defense.
Vikings knew how to use their fullback.
Yeah, no kidding.
Their fullback absolutely obliterated linebacker after linebacker after linebacker.
So defense second half, I mean, late third, kind of like when the offense started to pick up, it started like picking up momentum on the defensive side. Somehow we're starting to get some stops. We got the tip pick. Actually, Bush tipped it.
Yep.
Surprisingly. Bush tipped it. Okello picked it off. And then Okello made another great drive on a slant late in the game.
Fantastic drive. Dude had no juice.
Oh, yeah. He caught it, and then it was like, it was out. Straight on empty.
Yeah. He was like, 10 yards down. Oh, God, how much further do I have? Can somebody please just hit me?
He's like looking behind him like, somebody just tackle me already.
But he came to play.
Heck of a play.
In the second half.
Yeah.
First half, he didn't look that great. And again, other than Minka playing the full four, nobody really looked great until the second half. And then you're like, man, Okello looked solid.
Yeah.
Our run game all of a sudden showed up, but we were playing some different guys.
Yeah.
We were throwing in Marcus Allen. We were throwing in Buddy Johnson.
Yeah.
We were throwing in Killebrew. And it was effective.
Yep.
It was weird to see. It was like, wow, this is what happens whenever you actually give special teamers a chance to do something.
Yeah. Oh, I know, because Killebrew is actually a decent player. He's not just a special teamer.
Oh,
you know?
for sure. Absolutely. The dude has made a name for us this year on special teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
sure he has.
Like, he made some nice stops for us, too. And it was a matter of, I think, getting more speed and getting Bush and Schobert out to put extra speed on with people like Johnson and Allen and Killebrew, because they're a little bit smaller guys, but they can still lay the wood down.
Yeah. Yeah, they looked a lot better in the third and fourth. And not that, I mean, it wouldn't have to do much to look a lot better because they looked really, really bad. But they looked a lot better. Got some turnovers. They started making some run stops and maybe just flexing in those guys and just made the difference. But
right.
They let up that long one to Osborne late. But
I'm not even going to say they. Cam Sutton.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let up a long one.
Yeah. It was a killer.
Yeah. To KJ Osborne.
Yep.
The guy who I said was my X Factor.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Funny how that one works. Your X Factor on defense, Harrison Smith.
Yep.
Funny how that one works.
No kidding.
It's like, man, do you guys not notice these guys at all?
Yeah, I know. You're right. It's like they were so concerned with Jefferson, which I get it on that play, but Osborne went up and Cam Sutton couldn't follow him or couldn't keep up with him, whatever.
Not at all.
A couple things I'll point out is, as much as we trash on Devin Bush, I thought obviously he wasn't great in this game, but two of the plays that I thought he looked better in, especially in pass coverage, was the tipped pick that he had, which I thought he made a great play on. At least get on that route, get his hands up, and get on that ball.
Certainly.
And then there was another one too that was just I think it was the Dalvin. He just ran up past the line of scrimmage and did like a little curl as a check down, and he came crashing up on it. And I think it must have been right as the ball got there, he hit Cook right from behind, incomplete pass. I was like, that's what you want to see your linebackers do: read, react, and smash the guy.
Yep.
If they're gonna let him, catch it or try to catch it, at least make him hit or make him pay for it. So I was at least a little bit encouraged from that. Maybe he's starting to catch on. Maybe he's starting to get out of his own head. I don't know what it is. But he didn't play awesome that game. I'm not gonna say he did, but those were the two plays that I saw. I was like, maybe he's starting to take some baby steps. He's in the right direction here.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, Okello's been. 2 games in a row, he's looked like a stud.
Yeah.
Looked pretty good, and, I'd already told you, but my hot take is he's our second best corner right now. It's Joe, who hasn't played 4 weeks now. Maybe we get him back this coming week. We could use him.
A little bit longer week, right?
Yeah, so it'd be great to get Joe. Okello as our number 2, and Cam at least is as bad as our number 3. He just has not stepped up and has not looked good. I would almost put Sutton, Pierre, and Lane all almost in the same boat of like, yeah, you guys can sometimes make some plays, but you guys seem to make as many mistakes as you make plays, which isn't what we like to see.
Yeah.
And it's tough to see, but it's nice to see that we're actually getting something for our draft pick finally in Akello, because he looked bad early on.
Yeah, he did. I think too, just him catching on with the defense helps. Getting communication down helps. So, yeah, he's really earned a spot on the roster so far the last 2 weeks for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it's been awesome to see, especially in a position we need some depth and we need some solid play from. Who's your LVP from defense?
LVP, there's a lot I could choose from here.
There are a lot.
I'm just gonna go in general run defense.
Yeah, okay.
It was just so bad to where there wasn't just one player that was giving up big run after big run. It was literally Caesar parted. It's basically Oklahoma drill, Dalvin Cook on Minka.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, Minka won it more times than not.
Yeah, he really did, which is impressive. I'll go the same thing because to point out one player is too hard.
Oh, yeah.
But the run defense, I mean, nobody wanted to shoot gaps. Nobody wanted to hit anybody. Actually, you know what? I will point out one person. I won't make him the LVP. I'll still stay with run defense like you. But the one that drove me nuts was the one that Dalvin ran outside. I think it was to put him up. Man, it's all just mush now. I think it was to put him up 20 to 23.
Okay.
I can't remember. It was his outside run, and like he just sprinted towards the corner of the end zone, maybe from like 20, 30 yards away. And nobody touched him.
Untouched, yeah.
But Edmonds was on the outside and came crashing in, and it was his outside to contain, and he blew it. And I rewatched that play, and I rewatched the highlights, and I saw that play, and I was like, dude, come on. Like, that's probably why we didn't pick up your fifth-year option. Probably has a lot to do with it.
Right.
Boneheaded plays like that you still haven't been able to do, but I get it. You trip up every now and again. These players aren't perfect, but you got to expect him to make those kind of plays for us. And
certainly.
But, yeah, run defense was atrocious. And
horrible.
Got some work to do.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Special teams, we can just touch on them real quick here. Boswell missed his kick.
Yeah.
PH3, he botched a couple of them and been really inconsistent that whole night.
Very inconsistent. I mean, sometimes he'd make some nice boomers, and I was like, wow, okay, that's some nice ones. And then he would shank one, and there was no excuse on why he was shanking them because, sure, if you're in Heinz Field, the weather's crappy. It's a day like today. We're recording this on a Saturday. Super, super windy, super cold, like, sure, I could understand if you're shanking it a little bit. You were in a dome.
Yeah.
There's no reason. Your counterpart's Jordan Berry, and he's booming them 48, 50 yards. Like,
pinning us inside the 5.
Yeah. It's like you got a freaking, you got a job to do, and I don't care that you're a rookie at this point. You are 13 games in. You should be consistent in a dome at the very least.
Yeah, I agree.
And Boz, that's why it shocked me so much that he missed, because he was in a dome. Like, if he's in Heinz Field, I don't have any concerns that he's making that kick. And it's like in a dome, he misses it, and it was longer, it was tougher.
Yeah, but
I get it. It was over 50, but it was like, man, what the heck happened? Like, we just needed you guys to play a perfect game, like, because you think like that that field goal could have made a difference at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been, okay, points on the board, and it was only 23 to, it was still 23-3. But if we make a comeback, then it's 36-31. Now we score a touchdown. We win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't have to worry about 2 points.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about this. We don't have to worry about that. Like, we're done. Like, we brought the comeback.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, it was surprising to see because of, like, the circumstance being in the dome and not having to deal with any of the weather like they had to deal with New England and Buffalo.
Right.
And these guys are still, punting, shanking it for, 20, 30-yard punt, and then Boswell's missing uncharacteristically. It was weird, but it was just an off night for everybody, I guess. That's what I seriously think. I think everybody physically traveled to Minnesota, but mentally and schematically just left it all in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it stunk. Like, it was one of those games where I was ready. I was ready for us to lose. I was ready for us to just be dead in the water, didn't have to worry about it. And then as we started coming back, I was like, oh, my God, we can do this. Like,
I felt my heart racing. I texted you. I was like, dude, my heart's racing. I don't want it to.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was like, no, this game was.
Get my hopes up.
Yeah, this game was over. Don't, like, I put a tweet out there, and I was like, don't, like, no, I can't take another heartbreak. Like,
Yeah.
I really can't. And then the KJ Osborne touchdown happened. I was like, well, there's the heartbreak again, because I was getting excited because we were within one freaking score. And wouldn't you know it,
Had to make it interesting.
it's sitting there and it's like, oh my gosh, you take it to the last play, you get us pumped up, you make a perfect pass, you make a perfect catch, and they just made a better play on it. And it's like, man, why? Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
It was so like, Steeler fans have to have the shortest life expectancy.
I know they were joking about the Vikings because of like how like it's only been like what 28 points or something. Their games haven't been decided by like 20.
Yeah.
Prior to this game, it had been decided by like 28 points or something like that. It's like so close and such close losses and wins and everything like that. It's like, yeah, I think us Steelers fans are pretty well used to that too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, ours is always within 3 typically if we're winning.
Yeah, I know.
It's horrible. It is bad. And it just makes you like, man, I feel like I was 26 when I started this season. I feel about 40 right now. Like,
Getting gray.
Yeah,
Got heart issues.
exactly.
Yeah.
Still watch them.
The only thing I can say is this game, the last thing I guess I can say is this game, if I went back and watched the highlights and I'm like, man, at least of the late third, fourth quarter.
Certainly.
And I'm like, man, watching Ben do this, I just got to appreciate it because we've got 4 more games left and this might be it for him.
Right.
And it's like, you might not see another performance like that this season from him. And a heck of a, he finally had 3
Certainly.
touchdowns. I don't know if he's had that all season. Maybe he has.
I don't think so.
If he has, it hasn't happened very often.
Might have been during the Chargers. That might have been it.
Oh, yeah, probably wasn't that one.
But otherwise, like, hasn't happened very often.
Hasn't happened very often. And just like the ball placements of his passes, he was precise. And I think just the heart too. Like I said that before, it was just the heart of the older veteran quarterback, like still making the throws, still after he should have been completely checked out from what had happened to him this whole game. Receivers being idiots and O-line not helping him out. He just showed heart and fight, and like it was just cool to see. And I gotta say, like as Pittsburgh fans, we just gotta appreciate it at this point. Like we got 4 games left from him, and most likely. But yeah,
if he was thinking about coming back, I think after he got hit so many times by the Vikings, he's like, yeah, no, I think the end of the season's fine by me.
And I gotta say, quarterback position is the least of our problems heading into the draft. I hate to say it because I was all about, Pickett and Corral and all these guys. Like,
I'll still take Pickett, though.
I would, but all I'm going to say is the quarterback position is the least, especially after seeing Ben like that. You're like, dude got pummeled, and then he still had
and he still brought us back. Yeah. No, we need trenches. That's our huge one, and I hate to say it because they're not sexy, they're not flashy picks. And it would be great if, something happens and something comes out and one of those top quarterbacks falls to the second round where we can pick him up, because it's the point where we need DL help, we need OL help, and we need them bad to even consider, being consistent playoff or consistently, whatever. That's like if Aaron Rodgers wants to come to the Steelers next year, great, bud. You're going to want to retire after that year too, because our line's going to kill you. Like,
I mean, you could go O-line, you could go D-line, you could go inside linebacker, you could go corner. I mean, I feel like all 4 of those are more at need than quarterback, especially after seeing Ben's performance.
Certainly.
I hate to say it because I love Pickett, and I would still take him.
Oh, if he's there, I'm still taking him
I'm not going to say I wouldn't.
And that's why I'm not the GM.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm just saying you look at those glaring needs on defense and then offense, and you're just like, man, I think if Ben wanted to come back next year and you got those pieces in place, he wouldn't be the problem next year.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I would agree with that, as long as he had time to throw and things like that. It'll be interesting because, this is still talking way down the future. But right now we're projected to have something like $45 million in cap. That's more than we ever have.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have some players to re-sign, but even re-signing those players, we're still going to have cap to go out and actually maybe get some of those first day or 2 guys to sign with us. So do we go after a big name corner that's already established in the league? Do we grab ourselves, a D-line? Do we grab ourselves an O-line? Like, do we build those pieces and then in the draft we're like, okay, where's our rookie quarterback?
Yeah.
Like, is that how
You're
we
right.
do? And it's super interesting to see because, like you said, there's, especially after this game, there's a lot of glaring needs that we need to address. And unfortunately, it's kind of we're in the ride for the rest of the year because it's we know it's not going to change at this point.
Yeah, we put ourselves in this position.
Yeah, there's some staple pieces, and everybody else can be replaced at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree with that 100%. All right, well, this is pretty lengthy, so I apologize, guys. And like Shane said, if we don't make this into 2 parts, then we appreciate you keeping along for the ride here. So
yeah, absolutely. This was our long-winded one, but it was just I felt we needed to break this one down.
Yes.
Just because it was so
there's a lot going on in this game.
so wild. I mean, it
was
was such quarter to quarter, half to half, play to play.
Yeah.
Difference maker. And I guess before we end too, my bold prediction of the refs not making game-changing plays didn't happen. You know, refs weren't horrible. Refs weren't great. They're not consistent.
Yeah.
There's a play that everybody's talking about when Freiermuth got hit. They were looking for the call, and it was a fair hit. But when Minka gets called for the same exact thing, that's a fair hit. All you want is consistency on it.
Yep.
And that's not happening. So I'm hoping the refs kind of tighten up again in the games this Sunday, you know, that we'll look at tomorrow. I'm sure we'll watch some of it, and maybe some of our AFC North components will lose. But refs, again, not as bad as I've seen them this year.
You're right, yep.
There's just not enough consistency there to say, yeah, you did a great job coaching this time, refs.
Yep. You're right. Well, Steelers go to 6-1. We're on to the Titans next week at home, right? We're at home. Yes, we are at home because then we're away at the Chiefs.
Arrowhead and at home for the
Browns.
and away at
Ravens.
M&T.
Yep. Yeah. So, we're on to the Titans. Hopefully we can squeak out another win. I mean, we're technically still mathematically in the playoffs, but
that kind of killed us.
Yeah, that was a huge hit there. So, all right, I'll quit talking because, like I said, this has been a lengthy video. But we appreciate you guys watching, tuning in, and as hard as it is to say, go Steelers.
Let's go Steelers.